What's up, everybody? Welcome to my first draft video of the 2013 baseball season. My name is Greg Smith, and I am here at the Fake Baseball with an ESPN Standard League draft coming your way. We've drawn the 6th pick in this draft, and I'm going to use we because you and I are in this together, dear viewer. I've kind of got the first few players from my rankings over here lined up in the queue. That sound you hear is those players quickly disappearing. If we want to take a quick look at the rankings I've got going on here, I've got Trout, Cabrera, Braun, Kemp, Pujols, Votto, Cano as my top 7. And so far, they've gone right in the order I have them ranked. Trout, Cabrera, Braun. There goes Robinson Cano at 4. A little earlier than I would have taken him, but that, if anything, gives us a better chance of landing my 4th-ranked player, Matt Kemp, here at the 6th pick. We will see what the person before us does here in the draft, and we'll go from there. Pujols and Votto are also on my radar, although I'd probably rather start off with somebody who could get me speed like a Kemp. I do have McCutchen and Gonzalez ranked lower than Votto and Pujols. Not necessarily because I think Kemp is safer, I just think he has a higher ceiling than those other 2 outfielders. McCutchen went 5th, so I'm going to take Kemp here. I do think first base is a little shallower than in years past, but I've found that it's a little easier to fill that position later or in the middle rounds than outfield can be at times, especially for elite players like Kemp. And this is an ESPN Standard League. I should note that you start 5 outfielders in one of these leagues. So I'm going to go with Kemp here, and I will be back with the 2nd round in just a moment. All right, welcome back. Since I chose Matt Kemp, Prince Fielder, Albert Pujols, Giancarlo Stanton, Joey Votto, Buster Posey, and Carlos Gonzalez have all been picked. I really like the value there on Votto at 10 and at Cargo at 12. Those are both pretty decent spots to get them in. This Buster Posey at 11 pick is one that I am not a fan of. Catcher is excessively deep this year. Troy Tulowitzki was just taken. The top of my rankings right now, based upon who's left, I've got Adrian Beltre, and right below him I have Longoria. I'd be happy to get either guy here for my 3rd base spot, and with only 1 pick between now and my pick, I will get one of those guys. There goes Beltre right on time. And so we're looking at Longoria. The next guys I have ranked are Jose Bautista, Adrian Gonzalez, who I'm a lot higher on than most people. I expect to bounce back from here this season. Then Hanley Ramirez, Josh Hamilton, Pedroia, Justin Upton. I might have Hanley and Josh Hamilton out of order there. It's possible I should have Hamilton ranked higher, or maybe even past Gonzalez, but I am a big believer in a bounce back from Adrian. So with all that said, I'm going to take Longoria here and hope to get another big hitter in the next round. Not exactly sure who I'll be looking for, but there are a lot of good options that will be available at that time, and I will resume when we get there. All right, here we are in round 3, and Adrian Gonzalez is still available. 2 picks left before I come up here. After I took Longoria, Verlander, Bautista, Hamilton, Felix Hernandez, Justin Upton, Clayton Kershaw, Hanley Ramirez, Bryce Harper, and Adam Jones were taken. And there goes David Price. So I'm looking at Adrian Gonzalez here. The next ranked players from my rankings are Dustin Pedroia, Jose Reyes, and Ian Kinsler. There is something to be said for position scarcity at this point in the draft, but I've also found that those middle infield positions are ones where you can often find good value in the middle to later rounds, as opposed to a guy like Gonzalez, who I expect to be another 30 home run type player with a high average and a lot of RBI. He's a guy, those kind of stats don't come up very often, and the ability to play him either at outfield or at first base is pretty nice. I'm assuming he has dual eligibility in ESPN leagues. Oh, maybe he doesn't. It looks like he's first base only. That's interesting, but I'm still going to take him here. Next round, we can start thinking about taking a pitcher. Strasburg is the highest rated one available right now. I'm not a big proponent of taking pitchers in the first 5 rounds, but you never know. Maybe I'll change my mind. We'll see who's available next round, and we'll talk to you then. Here comes Gonzalez into the first base spot. Here we are in round 4. Since I took Gonzalez, Strasburg, Pedroia, Wright, Cole Hamels, and Starlin Castro were all selected. David Wright's looking like a riskier proposition. Every news update we get on him, apparently he's having cortisone shots and oblique problems, and that scares me off a fair amount. There goes Jason Hayward. He was one of the players I was hoping to land with the pick in this round. And there goes Matt Cain, 33rd overall. With that, we're left looking at Jose Reyes and Ian Kinsler at the top of my rankings. Beyond that, we have Edwin Encarnacion. I would probably take the speed guys, the middle infield guys, over Encarnacion at this point because I need the speed, and I've already got a first baseman and a third baseman, so Encarnacion would go straight into my corner infielder spot. I'm not against filling that spot early, but when you can fill a tough-to-fill position like shortstop with Reyes and hopefully get the speed from him there, and he is the player I'm going to select here ahead of Kinsler. When you can get that speed at shortstop, it allows you to focus your outfield spots more on power, and it's easier to find a speed guy at middle infield and a power guy at outfield than vice versa, I've found. So I could use some steals here as well. Kemp's the only steals guy I got so far. Longoria and Gonzalez are pretty slow. After this round, we definitely need to start thinking about position over just general rankings. So far, I've just taken the guy who was the highest ranked player on my list. Now, if things work out, hopefully that'll continue to be the case, that the highest ranked players will be players that I need at certain positions. But at some point, draft rankings kind of go out the window, and you have to start looking at what your team needs, not only on a position-by-position basis, but also on a stats basis. And that was sort of the impetus behind that Jose Reyes pick, in that I have 3 power guys already in Kemp, Longoria, and Gonzalez. I need some speed, and Reyes provides that. And he'll also score some runs, which most of these guys are middle-of-the-order, type hitters. And hopefully they'll all score 80 to 90 runs and maybe even come close to 100 in some cases. But batting fourth is harder to do that, whereas a leadoff hitter like Reyes will go for 100 runs pretty easily as long as he stays healthy. That's a big if with him. He's always had leg injuries, but we'll just hope for the best in this scenario. We're pretty much looking at the beginning of round 5 right now, so I'm just going to keep going. We're not going to take a break. After I took Reyes, Kinsler was the next player selected. Then Gio Gonzalez, Jared Weaver, Billy Butler, Cliff Lee, and Jay Bruce. The top of my ranks still have Edwin Encarnacion, Ryan Zimmerman, Jacoby Ellsbury, and Matt Holliday. Encarnacion is also at the top of the ESPN rankings here by a pretty wide margin. He's there number 31, and the next player available is Brandon Phillips, who's the ESPN number 41 player. So I doubt that Encarnacion will survive these next 4 picks before I come up. I'll cross my fingers for it. There goes Madison Bumgarner. Ellsbury's on my radar. I'm not super interested in Zimmerman as my corner guy. I'd rather fill that spot with a first baseman just because they tend to stay healthier and because I'm not as much of a believer in Zimmerman as I am in a guy like Encarnacion. With that said, who else is available here? Just looking at the top of the ESPN rankings, it's mostly hitters. Brandon Phillips, Chase Headley. I'm not a believer in Headley this year. Matt Holliday, BJ Upton. I should clarify. With Headley, I don't like the price I have to pay to get him. I like the guy himself, and I do think he'll have an okay year, but I think measuring up to last year is going to be difficult for him. Yoenis Cespedes is here. I do like Yoenis. Pitchers available. Adam Wainwright. Who else? Yu Darvish. We can start looking at positional rankings as well here. Let's look at pitchers. So after Bumgarner, I've got Wainwright ranked pretty high. I might be too high on him. We'll see. Bumgarner, Dickey, Sale, Latos, Darvish, Greinke. So those guys are all probably available still. I like Sale a lot this season. There goes Edwin Encarnacion, 2 picks ahead of us. That's too bad. Zimmerman is a possibility here. I'm also looking at Ellsbury just as another guy to kind of lock up some speed. I don't like how injury risk filled my lineup is so far. I might prefer to go with someone a little safer, which could put me on Matt Holliday. I'm not totally sold on any of these guys. Let's go back to my overall rankings. And who else is in this range here? Got Zimmerman, Ellsbury, Holliday, Alan Craig, who is available. Paul Goldschmidt could be a nice one. Let's see where Goldschmidt is ranked. He's down here at number 72 in the ESPN rankings. I might be able to get him next round. Same with Kane. So I think if it comes down to Zimmerman, Ellsbury, or Holliday, I'd rather take an outfielder again because there are 5 outfield spots I have to fill. That's a tough one. Go with the safe play of Matt Holliday, or go with the riskier play in Ellsbury. You know what? Let's swing for the fences here and lock up some more steals. I'm going to take Ellsbury and try to fill out my power stats later, and we'll be back for round 6 in just a moment. All right, we're back. After I took Ellsbury, Holliday went, then Ryan Zimmerman, Chase Headley, Ben Zobrist, Alan Craig, Zach Greinke, and CC Sabathia. Top of my rankings right now is Paul Goldschmidt. Next up would be Adam Wainwright, or Chris Sale, or Yoenis Cespedes, or Matt Latos. A couple hitters, 3 pitchers. I'm probably going to take Goldschmidt if he's available. I really wanted Alan Craig, and he went a couple picks ago. Pitching, as you will know if you read my last piece, is a starting pitching, that is a position that I tend to undervalue for the most part while I load up on hitters in the early rounds. And the 6th round is typically when I'll start looking at pitchers because that's when I start to like the value. Like a guy like Chris Sale could finish the year as a top 10 guy, and he will have been, I don't know what, let's see how many other pitchers have been taken. I have a feeling it's probably like 12 or something so far. Maybe more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh yeah, so like 15-ish pitchers have been selected so far. I mean, that's not like insane value, but the fact that you could get a top 10 or a top 5 guy maybe now as opposed to in the early rounds when you have to pay that full price for them, I don't really like that, to be honest. I'd rather try to find pitching value because I think it's easier to find in the later rounds than hitting value is. At least ones that won't kill your ratios, average, whip, ERA, and on base if you play in a league with on base. Anyway, Goldschmidt is my highest ranked player. He would go into my corner infield slot. The other player I was thinking about was Cespedes, but he was just taken right before me. And before that was Sabathia. I don't know if I mentioned that pick. But I think we're just going to add Goldschmidt to the team here and look to add a pitcher next round. Hopefully Sale will last until then. I kind of doubt Wainwright will just because he's so far up here in the ESPN rankings. Anyway, Paul Goldschmidt, welcome to the team. Okay, so since the Goldschmidt pick, BJ Upton, Brandon Phillips, Chris Sale, Adam Wainwright, Brett Laurie, Carlos Santana, Joe Mauer, Josh Willingham, and Yadier Molina were all taken. There's one pick left before we come up here, and that pick was just used on Michael Bourne. Someone likes Chris Sale as much as I do because he got taken very quickly after my Goldschmidt pick. That's too bad. My top-ranked players are Matt Latos and then Paul Konerko and Eric Hosmer, both of which I'm much higher on than ESPN. Their top-ranked players right now are Matt Wieters, Jason Kipnis, Austin Jackson, Ian Desmond, and Johnny Cueto. And, you know, I'm just not really into those guys very much. Latos is the easy pick for me here. I need to start filling out pitching. The other players I like kind of at the top of these rankings here are Aaron Hill and Alex Rios. I expect them to have good years again this year. Aroldis Chapman's an interesting one because we don't know if he's the closer or if he's going to start for the Reds. It sounds like both Chapman and Dusty Baker want him to be the closer, whereas the front office wants him to be a starter. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Yeah, we're going to take Latos here. I think he's a pretty good first pitcher to get. I'm not super excited about it. I would have rather had someone a little bit better, preferably Sale or Wainwright, but this is what happens when you wait on pitching. We're going to jam Latos into this first pitching slot, and we may add to that Arsenal of Arms next round.